Most men don't have standards, they have moods. They live on preference. I feel like it, I don't feel like it, maybe tomorrow. And then they wonder why they don't grow. Here's the question: what's your personal code right now? Based on what you actually do. Not what you intend, not what you admire, but what your behavior proves. Because whatever you tolerate, you train. Whatever you excuse, you keep. And every exception you give yourself is a vote for the same man again. So ask yourself calmly, is your current code building a man that you respect or a man that you keep having to forgive? If your stomach drops even slightly, good. This film is for you. This is not a tips video. This is how serious men think about identity and achieve the life they want. Take 10 seconds, look at your life as it is. Not what you believe, not what you want, but what you enforce. Where do you keep making excuses? Where do you tolerate what you claim you don't tolerate? And where do your standards keep collapsing every time they cost you something? If you can't point to consistent enforcement, you don't have standards, you have preferences. In the next 10 minutes, I want to show you why men drift and why self-betrayal becomes normal. Give you the distinction that will improve all aspects of your life, standards versus preferences. Give you a simple blueprint for a personal code so your behavior stops contradicting your self-image. If you're comfortable living on preferences and exceptions, this will feel like too much. But if you're tired of your life being negotiable and you want real standards, stay with me. If you don't have standards, you'll still do things. You'll still choose, but you'll choose like most men choose, by appetite, by mood, by convenience. You'll keep negotiating with yourself, and the negotiation always ends the same way. Short-term relief, long-term disgust. It shows up everywhere. You don't hold the boundary. You don't do the hard thing. You let it slide, you make an exception, you rationalize it. Call it what it is, default behavior. The mind repeats what's familiar even when it's costing you. So without standards, your life runs on default, not design. Most men don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they never turn I should into non-negotiable. When I work with serious men, founders, operators, and high performers, we don't start with hacks, we start with the foundation, standards. Because great men think and act differently. First, they don't wake up and ask, what do I feel like? They ask, what does my standard require? Second, they don't build their life on preferences. They build it on non-negotiables, rules they keep, even when it costs them comfort, convenience, or approval. Third, they don't leave decisions to the moment. They decide in advance what they do and what they refuse. So when temptation shows up, there's nothing to debate. Most men live like their day is happening to them. Great men live like they are accountable for the outcome. And the separator isn't talent, it's what they do and don't do, because their standards have already decided it. There are two paths. Path 1, dignity. Short-term discomfort, long-term respect. You become reliable, you become composed, and your word starts to mean something again. Path 2, dopamine. Short-term relief, long-term drift. You become a man who needs motivation because he has no internal law. Most men don't choose, they default, and then they call it life. A personal code is simple. It's one page, but it governs everything. It has 4 components. Number 1, the virtues. These are the principles that your life is governed by. Courage, prudence, temperance, justice, etc. Number 2, the standards. These are your non-negotiables. What you do, what you don't do, what you refuse. Number 3, the boundaries. What you allow and what you do if it's crossed. No aggression, no speeches, just enforcement. Number 4, the systems. These are your daily minimums and weekly reviews. So you're not relying on inspiration, you're running a process. Here's the difference. A preference is flexible. It's mood dependent and negotiable. A standard is enforced, consistent under pressure. It costs you something. Most men say they have standards, but what they really have is taste. They prefer discipline, they prefer honesty, they prefer convenience, but they don't enforce it when it's inconvenient. So here's the rule. If it isn't enforced, it's not a standard, it's a wish. This isn't about being more disciplined. This is about whether you ever become the man that you're imagining, or whether you spend your whole life as potential. Because everything you say you want, money, success, relationships, freedom, is on the other side of standards. Not knowledge, not motivation, standards. And most men never cross that line. They stay in moods, they stay in preferences, they keep their identity soft, so they never have to feel friction. That's why they don't grow. Growth requires discomfort. Standards create discomfort on purpose in the right direction. Great men, successful men, formidable men. They're not separated by talent, they're separated by non-negotiables. They do what they said they would do, even when it's lonely, even when it's boring, and even when no one is watching. Every time you let it slide, you're not skipping a habit, you're proving your standard doesn't exist. You're casting a vote for the same version of you again and again. The version of you that negotiates, delays, and makes excuses. Keep voting for that man and you'll never reach your full potential. You'll stay familiar, you'll stay comfortable, you'll stay smaller than you could be, and you'll call it realistic. None of this is new. Aristotle said that moral virtue isn't something that you feel, it's something that you train. He said moral virtue comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts, brave by doing brave acts. The Stoics said the same thing in a harsher tone. It's not what you believe, it's what your actions prove. Epictetus believed that Stoic philosophy wasn't just theory, it was a practical philosophy that one lived. That when one created moral rules that governed their life, they should abide by them as if they were laws. So in modern language, what this means is that your identity isn't your intentions, it's your repeated choices. Which means the real question isn't what do I want, it's what do I enforce when it costs me something. I'm not going to walk you through the full process I use in my training because that work has to be built around you, your history, your temperament, your constraints, your blind spots. Here you're getting the structure. The real depth belongs in a room where it can be tailored. And I've seen what happens when men do this properly. They stop breaking promises with themselves. Their discipline stops depending on mood, and their whole life starts taking real shape. If you want that outcome but don't have time to brute force it alone, comment, apply, or email me and we can do this together. If not, do the following 3 exercises. Number 1, the drift audit. Tonight, write 10 ways you routinely betray your stated values. Pick the 2 that you think are most detrimental. That is now your current code. Number 2, 1 boundary, 1 enforcement. This week, pick 1 boundary you keep failing to hold. Write out the sentence, rehearse it 10 times, and then enforce it calmly and respectably. Number 3, the 30-day integrity streak. For 1 month, pick 1 daily minimum that you must do. At the end of each week, review your progress and ask yourself, did I act like the man I claim to be? Allow for small corrections and then recommit and continue. Do those 3 and you'll already be living differently than most men around you. Let me know in the comments what virtues, characteristics, or principles are going to be part of your personal code. So, what are your standards in practice, not in theory? And if you keep living by your code, are you proud of the man it's building? You don't need a new personality. You need a governing document and the courage to enforce it. Start with the 3 exercises in this film. Download the Virtuous Man reading list and begin training the mind that will enforce your standards. The link is in the description. Most men will live by mood and make excuses why they never reach their full potential. If you're still here, you're probably not meant to be one of them. My job is to make sure you don't waste that potential. I'll see you in the next one.